Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group. I'm your host, as always, Ryan, and today we are going to be doing another top 10 video. This time we are looking at Roman Reigns' top 10 successful title defences during his record-breaking 1,316 days as champion. He was the fourth longest reigning WWE champion in history, and we're going to look at his top 10 matches from that run. So what I've gone with successful. So that doesn't include obviously when he lost the championship. And also I just want to say, like last year, I had a good few people asking me to rank each and every one of Roman Reigns' matches from that run. But obviously, as we know, it then went for another year. And then I thought, oh, I could do ranking them all. Then I think it ended up being something like 30 championship matches, something like that in the end. So I thought, well, rather than do that, I'll just do a top 10 of his best successful title defences from his record-breaking run. So that is what we're going to do today. As always, you can play along with us. Let us know what your top 10 matches are. Let me know if there's any that you think I've missed out or any that you think are in the wrong order. So any feedback, I always love to talk wrestling with people. So let me know your lists as well. So we'll kick it off at number 10. So as always, we'll go down from 10 and down to 1. From 10 being obviously the worst of the 10, if you like, and number 1 being the greatest successful title defense of Roman's reign, if you like. So we'll start with number 10, and I've gone for Roman Reigns versus Cesaro at Backlash 2021. Or WrestleMania Backlash, as I think it was called that year. Cesaro pushed Roman to the brink in this match, proving that he should have been a main event guy in WWE. One of the more technical matches of Roman's reign. Cesaro was undone in the end, though, by an injury to his arm and was unable to escape the guillotine choke. That's one of the main things I really enjoyed about Roman's run. And Roman becoming a bad guy, it was the fact that he started to use this guillotine choke and not just the spear to win matches. I think it definitely played into his heel character, where he just locked his whole body weight on and made people tap or pass out. So that is number 10 versus Cesaro. So we'll come in at number 9. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at TLC 2020. These two faced off a good few times, especially during the early stages of Roman's reign, if you like. But this match for me was easily the best. You know, they had a steel cage match and everything. A last man standing match as well, wasn't it? Where Roman was handcuffed and Paul Heyman couldn't get the handcuffs open in time. KO looked great in this match and could have easily, well, not easily, but he could have been the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. But we had the outside interference from Jey Uso. So that is number 9. So we'll go through these quite quickly, and I'll spend a bit more time on the top 3. But otherwise I'll be rambling on for over an hour. So in at number 8 we have Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan at Fastlane 2021. Roman's best opponent for me during this whole run as champion was Daniel Bryan, one of the best in the world, and it was able to elevate Roman to the next level. Not only was Roman world champ or universal champ at the time, so technically a world championship, they wanted to make him the biggest guy in the company, and obviously up to this point before Roman had the belt, the universal championship was definitely the secondary title in WWE, and it didn't mean as much as the WWE championship. So they wanted to try and push Roman to being on par with the WWE champion, and then eventually pushing beyond that and putting him against Bryan on numerous occasions definitely helped elevate Roman up higher at that standard. Roman tapped out at one point during this match, but the referee was distracted, so didn't see Roman tapping out, and in the end, it was probably overbooked at the ending, but it was still overall a really good match. And again, like I say, with Roman actually tapping, but the ref didn't see it, just added another layer to that heel persona and character. But yeah, it was a bit overbooked in the end. Speaking of overbooking, in at number 7, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. Not the one that he won at 40, but the year before, which Roman successfully defended. Like I say, this is just successful title defences. As I said, talk about overbooking. This match for me would have been a hell of a lot better if we hadn't had so much interference in this match from the likes of the Usos. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn got involved, so Sikoa got involved. And also, I think that for me, this match should have been the one to end Roman's reign. This is where Cody should have won the championship, as Roman held it then for another year and defended it maybe once, possibly twice in that time. So it was kind of pointless. You might as well put the belt on Cody a year ago. But it was still good when he did it at Mania 40. As that is number 7. So in at number 6, we are flying through these. It's Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. Crown Jewel 2022. Roman was able to show how much of a ring general he was in this match, while Paul looked great and probably his best match to date, and I still stand by that now. He hasn't had a better match than this one. Roman definitely leaded the line. You know, he continued the story throughout the match. You know, he made Logan Paul look great as well. So his punching, I think Logan, if I remember right, even hit the Superman punch at one point, and Roman sold that really, really well. A great table spot from Paul had fans believing his first title could actually be the big one. He had that table spot where Roman was on the announce desk and he climbed up to the top rope and jumped off, and he even recorded it on his phone as well. Became one of the most viewed videos on social media, especially for last year. 2 years ago. Jesus, yeah, 2022, 22 years ago, become one of the most viewed WWE social media videos. So that is our top 6. So number 5, we're getting into the top 5. It's coming the big guns now. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge at WrestleMania 37. This was a great match. It really did feel like two veterans getting their last hurrah, that one last shot at the main event, and one last shot at the big championship in WWE. You know, they started with both guys obviously basically both guys basically didn't want Roman to come out as the victor. You know, it was to be either of them two, but that didn't happen the way they wanted it to, with Roman managing to play both guys off against each other in the end, and as promised, he stacked them one on top of each other and got the victory at WrestleMania. So in at number 4, we have Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso at the Clash of Champions 2020. This match was Roman's first title defense. It was also the match that made him a top heel. So don't forget, we hadn't seen Roman as a bad guy, as a heel, since the days of the Shield, which obviously he had a faction with him. Whereas this time, this was before the Bloodline, so this was just Roman on his own as a heel. So this pushed him to become a top heel. With this match also showing that Jey Uso, because Jimmy was injured, Jey could actually stand out and do something and get somewhere on his own, which obviously we're now seeing he's become massive on his own. And this is the match that started it. it also started to lay the foundations of what later would become the Bloodline story, which is obviously a massively popular faction and storyline throughout wrestling, not just WWE. So that is number 4. So that brings us to our top 3 already. So, in at number 3, it's that man again, Daniel Bryan. It's Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan at SmackDown 2021. A fantastic match for a weekly show rather than a pay-per-view. This match went just under 30 minutes and it was back and forth action throughout. Bryan went to work on Roman's arm early and to get him ready for the label lock, hopefully trying to get that submission, as we say, back at Fastlane. You know, Roman did actually tap, so that was Bryan's end game going into this. This was his plan, was to try and tap out Roman Reigns. But eventually Reigns was able to lock in the guillotine choke, and he used his other arm, the uninjured arm, for this, to be able to apply the pressure and get all his strength into him, and Bryan eventually passed out. I'd say what was most impressive about this victory was the fact that there was no outside help in this one, so Roman actually got to show us what he could do on his own without any interference from, the Bloodline. And this ultimately would be Daniel Bryan's last match in WWE. And he couldn't have left on a higher note than this feud and storyline that you had with Roman at the time, and obviously putting Roman over as the top guy in WWE on his way out. Maybe this match could have probably have gone higher up in the rankings. That's for you to decide. I'm putting it 3rd, but I definitely feel like with it being during the pandemic and no fans in attendance, this wasn't as good as what it could have been. I think with a live crowd and both guys being able to feed off it, it could have been just that bit sweeter. So that is number 3. So what could be the top 2? Well, I'll give you number 2 and then we'll do a rundown through the list as always before we get to our best ever. So in at number 2, it's Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in 2023. And this come off the back of my favourite storyline of Roman's entire reign. It was involving Sami Zayn as the honorary Uso joining the Bloodline. The story for this had been built for absolute months, and the payoff was this match. We had obviously Sami being a part of the Bloodline, and then one of the Usos wasn't a fan of him being in the Bloodline, and he eventually finally gets them all on side, and then they start running into Kevin Owens, so then Sami starts, he's been friends with this guy forever, so then he starts sort of not maybe agreeing with what the Bloodline's about, and it's just a slow build to eventual turn where Sami then nails Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair. It was all done brilliantly, to be fair, and it was definitely the best story to come out of the Bloodline and Roman's reign. The crowd in Montreal was electric, and both guys knew just how to play off the crowd to a T. Some close calls and false finishes ensued, but when Roman won the match, the crowd went quiet as they were 100% behind the hometown hero. But this time, it just wasn't meant to be. Now, I remember in the build-up to this, there was loads of people talking, because we already knew at this point that Cody Rhodes had won the Royal Rumble. So then people were thinking, well, will we still get Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, or will it be Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes? I remember there being polls online, like, who would you rather, who do you think is going to win? And it was always really close. So there was a lot of people that were so into this storyline that they believed Sami Zayn could well come out as the victor and become the undisputed champion at the time. And I think that's what made it so much better, and the fact that obviously they'd done it in Montreal, they'd done it in Canada with Sami Zayn as well, so the fans were right behind him. So again, it pushes Roman into that top heel persona like takes him next level if he starts beating everyone in the hometowns as well. So that for me is number 2. So we'll quickly run down 10 down to 2, and then I'll give you Roman Reigns' greatest successful title defense of his record-breaking 1,316-day reign. So in at number 10 is versus Cesaro at Backlash 2021. In at number 9, it's versus Kevin Owens TLC 2020. In at number 8 is Daniel Bryan Fastlane 2021. In at number 7 is versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. In at number 6 is Logan Paul at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view 2022. In at number 5 is is versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge in a triple threat match at WrestleMania 37. In at number 4 is versus Jey Uso at the Clash of Champions 2020. In at number 3 is versus Daniel Bryan at SmackDown 2021 in what deemed to be Daniel Bryan's last match in WWE. And in at number 2 is versus Sami Zayn at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view on 2023. So what could be number 1? Well, for me, it could only be one match, and this was one of the easiest things to do. Like, normally I struggle to pick like the top 2 or top 3, but for me this one definitely was number 1 from when I decided to do this video. So in at number 1, it's Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, Clash at the Castle 2022. When WWE booked a pay-per-view in the United Kingdom and then pitted the Scottish Warrior versus the Tribal Chief, a lot of fans, most fans, thought that Drew would come out on top. They played into the storyline of Drew never winning the WWE Championship in front of live crowds. You know, he's a former 2-time WWE champion, but obviously both reigns came during the pandemic, so there was no live crowds in attendance, so they started to play on that storyline. And they also played on the fact that, you know, it was with him being from Scotland, and Scotland's in the UK, you know, and obviously Clash of the Castle was in Wales, in Cardiff, which then sort of, maybe to the Americans anyway, made him a hometown hero. So that played again, so it started to actually seem that Drew McIntyre was the favourite going into this match, and Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns was actually the underdog, even though he was the champion. That's the way they seemed to play on it. So that's what fans were expecting. Fans were expecting Drew McIntyre to come out on top. And probably for the first time in his run, Roman Reigns was seen as the underdog. When Solo Sikoa interfered in the match, debuting from NXT to the main roster, you know, it was quite a genuine shock. You know, it had been rumoured for a while that maybe he'd come up and join the Bloodline, but obviously there was a couple of months after all these rumours started, and obviously Solo was the NXT North American champion, so people were just assuming maybe it was just talk and speculation. It was never actually going to happen, but then he did show up and cause mayhem. Eventually Roman then once again retains, and this for me was not just the best match of Roman's reign, of his record breaking reign, but it was also the most memorable. When I think of the Tribal Chief, when I think of the head of the table, when I think of the Bloodline, all that, I think of this match, Clash of the Castle, back in 2022. So there you have it. That is my top 10 successful title defenses of Roman's historic reign. So as always, let me know in the comment section, do you agree with this list? Do you feel like there's any that I've missed off, or do you feel like maybe I've put some in a different order than what you would? Always let me know. I do enjoy reading other people's lists, and I do enjoy that interaction with fans as always. So let me know what yours is. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And stay tuned for more wrestling related content coming your way very, very soon.